Hi, I'm Kaz, and I'm here to show you a few tips on playing with children. Some very simple, easy to use activities and some sort of conversation starters with young children. I've got two young children myself, they're 5 and 7. I'm also an emotional coach for children and teenagers. And I also teach baby massage, so involving all my roles involve families together. So the first one we're going to do is to do with sort of food and water, so kind of kitchen related, so a few things that are accessible excuse me, to you. Everyone will have different things that they can use, but it's very use what you've got. Children love water play. I think it's very sort of using the senses. It can be very playful. You can easily do it outside or inside, depending on what you've got. So I've just got a plastic bowl of water. You can use trays. You can have much. You can sort of go big with this kind of thing, or you can sort of have it small as well. So a few examples for what you'd have in the kitchen that kids love. Any kind of ladle, spoon kind of thing, so they can sort of really use it for. They feel very much like an adult when they're using kind of kitchen utensils, which I think really helps. So I think a lot of the time, toys, but actually kids love a wooden spoon to drum with, or things like ladles. And funnels are awesome with water play because it obviously kind of like it has a different sort of outcome out of the funnel. So children just love pouring one thing into the other, using different shapes and sizes. You can use bath toys as well as kitchen things. This used to be a butter dish. So use colours, use different textures. The other thing to use also is something like a sieve or a colander. And again, it just shows the water coming out in a different way. So if you have water coming out, then you can make rain. So making rain, the different sounds, the water coming out sort of different speeds, different sort of volumes, that type of thing. So all of these things you can kind of make conversation, but just very subtly asking questions. I think letting the child lead is really, really important, so they feel empowered, like they're in control, they're making the decisions of what to do, what to put where. But asking questions like, tell me about what you're doing, or what's happening, kind of, what do you think will happen? So with the colander, for instance, where do you think the water will come out? Or what does it look like? Because I thought it looked like rain, but they might say it might look like something else. And then when they kind of begin talking about, if they bring up rain, it might be, bring up a story about the rain or a song about rain. There's lots of sort of songs with rain. So you can kind of go down the different avenues of what they sort of bring up. Singing, I think, is a really, really big one. If you get stuck with what to say or what to ask a child, which everyone does, I use song a lot. So singing can be really, really good for yourself. It can be really good for your mental health. It can kind of make you feel good because it releases the feel-good hormones. Your child will love your voice more than anyone else's. It's what they first heard when they were in your tummy, and they will find it comforting, even if you can't sing at all. You don't have to have the best voice in the slightest. They will love your voice anyway. So it doesn't have to be nursery rhymes. A lot of the rain sort of songs are nursery rhymes, but it doesn't have to be nursery rhymes. You can have your choice of song, and that actually is sometimes more beneficial to some children. But sharing music, sharing a beat with your child, sharing a tune, the words, being in sync can be a really nice bonding moment through music. And singing also encourages kind of the fun, kind of playful side, but it also encourages movement, so you can kind of move with your child, and again that kind of brings a bond and interaction. So with all these kind of things, it's kind of ask kind of questions that will kind of lead the child to lead. So show me how you're doing that, or what's your favourite? So I'll repeat these questions then when I give different examples as well. So the next one after water play, I'm just going to put this down, is using any kind of food stuff. So I've got rice and pasta in the same sort of tray here. So it's, once you've played with it, you can still eat it, in my eyes anyway. So rice and pasta are really, really great. So rice really flows a little bit like water, but in a different way, obviously. So it's more tactile. You can sort of really play with it in your hands, and children really love it because it's just a totally different sensation. Water, they obviously sort of, you know, will have a bath, splash in puddles, so they kind of might be used to it. With water, it's a little bit of an advantage when you can have warm water or cold water, so you can sort of involve the senses. With rice, it's usually going to be sort of room temperature, and pasta. But again, you've got the kind of the different sort of sensual and the pouring and things. So other things to sort of start a conversation is just using doing words. So with water or the rice, you can kind of pour, you can sprinkle, you can sort of pick the different bits of pasta. You can sort of pile things up a little bit, you know, make a tower. So the children love sort of putting things in pots and in places, and then putting it in another pot. Or you can fill, so filling the pot, or stacking sort of the pasta in a tower type of thing, or even sticking. So you can do some, if you've got glue, you can make pasta art, which I'll talk about in another video about art. So all of these kind of verbs, all these doing words that they may not know yet, and they may not have come across because they're all kind of, especially sprinkling, you know, they may not have come across that kind of word, but it's a really lovely sort of sensual doing words. So, and you can also talk about the senses. So what does that sound like? So this, again, it could sound like rain, or it could sound like sort of, I don't know, an animal sound even. To them, it may sound like something totally different. So sort of just let them sort of use their imagination and tell you what they think it sounds like, what does it look like, how does it feel, and you can even make stories up. So I've got little plastic animals here. I don't even know what they are. I think that's a crocodile. So if you've got any kind of toys, you can make any kind of stories with this. I've got some plastic cookie cutters here as well. That can be a tree within a mushroom within. You can make this into a scene. So you can make it into a story. The child might, you know, have a goodie and a baddie. They might be all friends. They might be having a little birthday party. Any kind of thing that the child sort of starts to use as a story. You could even pretend that you're giants, and all of these are kind of, you know, little teeny tiny animals. But sort of, yeah, ask them questions about the story that they're sort of beginning. So what do you think would happen next? Or if with these animals, it might be sort of going down the route of what's your favourite animal? Why do you think they're good or bad? So asking any kind of what or how questions is great. And then the other thing with pasta, I'll talk about the pasta art. But other things with food is that making faces is a huge hit with children, especially if they're struggling to eat, or if they're being fussy over what kind of foods. If you make a face out of the food, so whether it's pasta into a smile, you could have two sort of other bits of pasta as their eyes, and a nose, or for whatever food. But if you make it on their plate as a face, or another sort of shape, or another sort of thing, then that can be really fun at meal times as well. So the next one to do with food is a game called Silly Senses. So I used to play this when I was little, so I grew up in the 80s, and it used to be on TV, so you might recognise the name of Silly Senses. So I've only got a few things here, but it's to use the senses with things, again, in the kitchen, things are accessible, anything that you can find. So you blindfold your child. So some children might not like that. So they can either close their eyes, and it doesn't matter if they cheat really, because it's just a game. So you can blindfold your child, make it a bit of fun, or just kind of ask them to close their eyes or something. And you kind of want to grab a few things to have to sort of see if they can guess what it is. So something to smell could be an orange, like an orange, you can peel it a little bit, and you can just, when they're blindfolded, put it up to their nose and sort of have a smell, and again, they've got to guess what it is. So they can choose which sense. You can give them a smell, you can give them something to feel, something to taste, or something to hear, but it's not using their sense of sight. So it could be a corn on the cob, something to feel, because that's quite tactile, and they have to guess what that is if they're blindfolded. They might sort of taste a bit of cucumber. I would recommend at the beginning to do taste that you know that they like, so that it's you know, they trust you and it's a bit of fun. My children very much think I'm always going to give them something horrible like mustard or something that they hate, but it is a, you know, I always give them something nice to make it fun. Otherwise, it's not so nice. And something to hear. It could be like a crisp packet or a biscuit packet, that type of thing. And it's a really lovely game because they can kind of, sometimes they might think it's kind of something completely different, but it's just using their senses, and it's just a little bit of fun with food and in the kitchen. So I hope you liked a few of those ideas. I'll do another video on sort of art ideas, and I'll repeat some of those questions. But just to say at the end, questions like, tell me about what you're doing and what's happening in their story or their made-up imagination. What do you think? So what do you think is going to happen next, or what do you think about that? Show me how. So if you're kind of, so it's not you leading the game or you telling them what to do or how to do something. It's very much to ask a child, you show me how you do this, and it's okay if it's a different way to the way I do it. And also, what's your favourite? That's an always really good one. Whether it's favourite food, favourite smell, favourite animal, favourite taste, even favourite sound, or that type of thing. And obviously with children, their favourite changes daily, sometimes hourly, and that's another sort of conversation starter. So thank you very much. I've been Kaz, and I'm from happykindcalm.co.uk, and I shall see you soon. Bye.